Ahead and get started. Thank you, Lily. Okay, yes. Hello again, and welcome to the info session for the Turtle Island Bioregional Congress. So lovely to have you all in the room here today. Really excited to see everyone and share about what's going on with the Congress. And so, what we're going to do today is I have a few slides. I will give a little bit of a monologue, just overview of what is the Congress, a little bit about the history, our goals, who this is for, what we hope to accomplish. We'll share about programming. We'll share about the site and all the logistical details of that. And then we will open it up and have, I'd say, at least half the time for questions and conversation about all of this. Um, and the Congress is very much a co-created effort. So everyone's voice here is super welcome in shaping it together. So those of us on the organizing circle, we're just holding this in trust, and you are all invited to shape a successful and valuable event with us. So I'm really excited to be in dialogue with all of you today, and we're going to have these sessions going forward, I think at least monthly until the Congress. So this is the beginning of a conversation. Okay, so I'm going to share some slides.
And maybe while Claire's giving this sort of more presentation part of the info session, we can have folks mute themselves so that we don't have background noises um, distracting. Thanks so much.
Mm, Thanks, Lily. And feel free to I think I'm going to try to get through some of this info dump before we take questions, but feel free to put questions in the chat and then we can come back to them. And then we'll have lots of dialogue once I share. But yes, so the Turtle Island Bioregional Congress 11, this is the 11th Bioregional Congress that has happened in North America. And we're super excited to revive this tradition. September 15th through 19th, 2026 in Cascadia, right outside of Portland. So that's where we are going to be on a lovely campground called Camp Cedar Ridge, which you will see pictures soon. Um, how do I advance my deck? Okay, here we go. Cool. So this is the organizing circle. We have a much wider circle of advisors who are active as well, and I think some of them might be on this call. Um, I am Claire from the Hilo team, if anyone's in the Hilo group, and Terran Collective, which has been doing Bay Area, California bioregional organizing for a long time. We also have Lily in the room, and Carrie and Brandon. Um, and if anyone wants to jump in and say a few words about yourself, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I'm just going to move on. We have a great crew representing a lot of amazing organizations, and yeah, we're excited to be offering this to the community. This is our gift. Um, so probably if you're in this room, you're maybe a little familiar with the concept of bioregionalism. But just to share how we're approaching it, um, it's an old idea that has been around since time immemorial that humans are in relationship with the land. We depend on the land. The land offers a natural container for us to organize within as a human society. And we have a responsibility to care for that land and live in balance with that land. And for a culture that has now lost its way so far away from living in right relationship with the land, we believe that this approach can offer us a way back to that reciprocity and a way of living that can actually endure deeply into the future. Um, and the idea of bioregional organizing in a modern sense in this land of North America or Turtle Island. Um, this has been happening since 1984 was the first Continental Congress, and it's an amazing tradition that went through 10 previous Congresses in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, and then dropped off for some reasons, but is now being revived and reanimated. And there's so much more energy now in the last several years around this. Um, and I mean, there's a lot of leaders I could name, like Joe Brewer and the Design School for Regenerating Earth has done incredible work. Our 3.0, which one of our organizers, Bill, is part of, has been doing a lot of work to promote this idea. Um, and so a new wave of organizing, place-based organizing, is on the rise. And we are really excited to bring this momentum together in a moment where we can be together in person, coalesce as a movement, and set the stage for the future, right? So that is what we hope to do in September. We have three main goals. One is just simple space for relationship, for us to meet each other, to be with each other in person, which is such a sacred and rare thing at this time, to actually be able to go off the screen and be humans together on the land, and to allow relationships to blossom, both hoping that people meet others from their own landscapes, maybe that they haven't met yet, but also that we're going to make relationships across bioregions. And by setting that foundation of relationship, we're really going to strengthen this movement. So even if you just meet some really amazing people, that will be successful for us. But secondly, we do hope that everyone will go home with very specific skills, stories to inspire you and to use in your organizing back home in your bioregion. So there will be educational content, workshops, experiences, um, skills, technical skills, but also story sharing and a chance to really hear from our elders in this space, Indigenous elders, bioregional organizing elders, and just people that have been doing this place-based work for a really long time. What has been working? What can we learn from? What can we adopt and take home? And then finally, this is about an alignment on strategy. In the past, the bioregional congresses had a lot of deliberative time where a long list of resolutions was assembled. And we're we're looking back at that in the past, what was done, and translating that now into what is needed today. And what we're thinking is that we're definitely still going to have a lot of deliberative time, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But rather than having like a set of resolutions everyone needs to adhere to, we're looking at this more as a coordinated plan for action that we'd like to come away from with the Congress. You could call it a bioregional action toolkit. So just a list of strategies that we know across the board are working. For example, earth law and rights of nature. And that's something that we can all be taking home across Turtle Island and implementing campaigns around. And when we're doing that in coordination, we are going to be more successful. So we hope that we'll have a strategy that anyone in the world of land-based organizing can look at and be inspired by and draw strength from. Okay, so programming. And I'm actually really close to the end of my monologue already. Um, this is co-creative, and I don't have our like hour by hour program to give you because we're not trying to be that prescriptive. We're working towards a structure like that, but it's really a balance of creating just enough structure to have a really fruitful gathering, but not too much that it's rigid and there's not room to be responsive and to honor emergence. Because more than anything, we know that this is about who's in the room, who shows up, and what we all feel like in that space needs to be addressed together, what we need to talk about, what conversations need to be had, what skills do we all want to focus on as a group. So those are open questions, and the organizers are not trying to dictate the answers to that, but we are going to try to respond. to what is desired by all of you on this call, everyone that's bought a ticket, the folks in the high-low group. So as we move forward with designing the programming, we're going to be in constant conversation with the wider community around what is going to be valuable, what do we most want to hear about, what do we most want to learn about, and it all also has to do with who's showing up. So what folks are in the room that we know we can tap and say like, hey, if there's interest in your topic, would you be open to giving a workshop about that? But it's much more about participation as equals and not about having superstar talking heads come and then have us all like sit and listen to them and like that's it. Like that's what's different about a Congress versus like a traditional conference that we've all been to. You get your badge, you sit down in the chair, you don't say anything, and you have to like listen to this thing, and it's really disembodying and not super engaging. And there's great conferences out there, but oftentimes we go to a conference and it's really like the space between sessions where the real value is coming from. And we want to create a container where that kind of juicy value is like at the forefront and specifically held and honored. So, just some broad strokes of what we're looking at and subject to change and input from all of you. But we definitely want to have circles for folks to gather, both with others from their land, but also with more like randomized different folks from other bioregions, so that there is a chance for the magic of this gathering in person to allow us to meet new allies. Um, and we'll also have circles based on topics, like everyone that wants to talk about bioregional finance, probably have a circle for that. We'll have a space for our Indigenous relatives who are there to be in circle amongst themselves, and on and on. Um, Workshops, workshops and presentations. Like there will be some of that, and it will be up to all of you to say what kinds of content you're interested in. And it'll depend on who is showing up and wanting to be there. So again, we're not trying to recruit like famous talking heads to come and give a keynote. It's more like, what do we, as the people of this movement, really want to hear about? We'll have that group convergence time that I talked about, where we'll work towards our shared strategic priorities. And we will have open space time. For folks that might not be familiar with open space, that's an opportunity for anyone to suggest a session. Any participant could say like, "Hey, I want to teach about my thing," and you put the time and location up on the board, and then whoever is interested in that shows up, and you have your session with them. So we will definitely have space for that. So anyone who wants to lead something will be able to lead something. And yes, ample space for emergence throughout. There will also just be like free time to enjoy the land. The land is really cool. I'll get to that in a minute. It'll be really fun to be on the land. We hope to do some land care and space tending for Camp Cedar Ridge, which we would develop in partnership with the management team and experts in this landscape and do that in a very caring and respectful way. But it's really important to us to have an opportunity for us to um, be hands in soil to whatever degree is appropriate and really connect and give back to the land that's going to be holding us. And lastly, it's not all going to be work and brain stuff. There's so much about this movement that is like deeply human and ancient, and we're going to honor our needs as humans in a body. We're going to have arts. We have an amazing arts circle that is taking shape. We're going to have music. We're going to have jam night. So bring your instruments, bring your stories. There's going to be like open mic for people to offer their artistic expression. We will have ceremony. This will look like our opening and closing ceremonies, our offerings to the land. I think we're aiming to have some work that reconnects happening, grief, joy, whatever is needed. This is all taking shape. And for sure, celebration. We will have definitely an epic dance party on the last night, the all species ball. And there will be plenty of moments for fun and levity and just being able to go through the whole spectrum of emotion together because I'm sure we're going to go really deep. Okay, so last thing is Camp Cedar Ridge. This is a campground, 32 acres, an hour outside of Portland to the northwest. So, kind of up in the foothills above the Willamette Valley to the north end, beautiful cedar forest. And I haven't been there yet, but Carrie's been there, and it sounds like a really beautiful and special space. They hold gatherings all the time of this scale. They are going to be um, doing all of our meals, which is great. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner will be provided. So we'll just be able to relax and focus on what we're there to do, which is such a gift. Um, it is primarily camping, but there are some bunkhouses and some cabins and some lodges, and most of those are reserved at this point. I think there's probably some bunkhouse spots. Um, but we'll mostly be camping, and that's, definitely a topic we could get into more if folks have questions about that. But we're looking into things like camping gear rental, or we could have like the gear come to the site and then like give it out to people that have reserved it. Things to make it easy so that even if you're coming from, if you're flying, you don't have to fly with your tent. Um, I'm actually about to go on a trip where I'm flying and camping and bringing my stuff, and it's kind of crazy, but doable. But we want to make it easy. We want to make this as easy as possible for everyone. And so, yeah, it's just a conversation. But more about Camp Cedar Ridge, there's a labyrinth. It's so beautiful. Um, okay, these photos are recent and it's beautiful, lush green and wet. When we are there in September, it will be more dry and sunny. But it's just really this lush forest. There's amphitheaters in the field, there's amphitheaters in the forest. There's lots of great outdoor gathering spaces, and we'll do tents and stuff as well. But we're going to be outside on the land having these conversations, and it's going to be really cool. So I'm probably missing lots of stuff. So I will invite others from the organizing circle to jump in and if there's any big topics I missed. Um, but otherwise, we can open the conversation and start discussing.
Thanks, Claire. That was great. There are a bunch of great questions also that have been coming in through the chat, and I've been trying to answer some of them. I just kind of want to touch on a couple of them that I think others might also have. Um, One, I'll just say that I posted the HILO, the TIBC community HILO invitation link in the chat just now. If you're not already on there, it's a great space to connect with other folks who want to come to this or who are going to come to this or but who are wanting to connect about this. So please do join that space. It's really cool. And there's a lot of cool spaces on HILO that you can explore as well. I wanted to say a quick thing about accommodations, like disability accommodations. The site is quite limited just in terms of it's a summer camp, but we are thinking through as many accommodations as we can possibly make. And if you have any specific concerns or requests, you can email me. I will put the TIBC email in the chat right now. It's just info at tibc11.earth. Um, and then you can also email me directly, which is lilyfalconer@gmail.com. So we can discuss and try to figure out how to make your participation possible and as comfortable and accessible as possible. We are going to be renting some golf carts and things like that to transport people around the property to the different meeting sites and just try to make it as a physically accessible, accessible in all ways, but physically it's definitely something that we're thinking through. Um, Let's see. Oh, quiet camping area for families. Yeah, we're definitely thinking through family spaces and village school and having some of our indoor accommodations are also like kind of we've sort of set them aside for families as well. So we can definitely think through that. And the overview, the space is quite large and quite varied. And so there are going to be places where people can camp away from the majority of the campers if you want like a more like tucked away into the woods experience. Like we can figure that out. There's also RV space. So if you have an RV or want to rent an RV to have a more kind of like slightly more comfy space, we can do that. So those are the things that popped out for me from the chat, but maybe there's more, and maybe there are folks with questions they want to ask in real time. Penny,
Any?
oh
Hi.
hey!
Um, yeah, I signed up just like the first day and requested there. I talked to the venue and we're with another couple who's also part of the bioregional um Whidbey, Regenerate
Mhm.
Whidbey Island. I know David Haskell and Kiki, they're part of it. Anyway, we wanted to rent, there were two rooms in what she calls the big house.
Mhm.
Reserve those, but we never heard back. And I just want to find out if did we get that?
Who did you talk to?
We didn't talk to anybody. We just made a request on the website
Okay,
because the woman at the venue couldn't rent it to us because she's renting
right.
to, you know what I mean? So we wanted we wanted to get those two rooms.
I'll look through. If you did the add-on for those rooms, did you buy the add-on for
No,
the
they didn't charge us. They didn't give us the opportunity to charge us. So that
interesting?
there wasn't like we made a request in the comments because that option wasn't there. So we
Mm,
wanted to find it.
Strange. Okay. Penny,
Yeah. Anyway, I just
since I know you, I'm gonna text you and we'll try to
okay.
figure this out, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
hmm Yes, all booking is through the Turtle Island Bioregional Congress website. So perhaps if you were trying to go through the Camp Cedar Ridge website, that's
No,
Mer
we
what?
were we left a note for you guys, both David
Oh,
and
okay.
I. We both left messages
Yeah.
on when we signed up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh my
We
goodness.
wanted,
Maybe
and
it would be good to do a quick screen share where we just kind of look at the registration and just kind of walk through because it's a little bit, it could be, there's a lot of different options.
Yeah,
We could
that's a
just
great
do
idea.
a
It
quick.
it
yeah,
might be good before we kind of go into any one specific thread.
Mhm.
Maybe we could just do a survey if there's other questions that people have, and then we can kind of prioritize.
Yeah.
Because I think some of these might be kind of specific as well, and we can follow up after or by text.
yeah, that makes sense. I just wanted to give a heads up.
Totally. Yeah, 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 totally. Let's see.
Um, yeah, and one thing I should talk about is just all the ways to get involved. So we'll definitely circle back to that. But Trisha, I see your hand.
Yeah, thanks so much. I was just hoping you might touch on work trade and if you've made decisions on that and how all that works too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
totally. So everyone that applied should have received a note. And so I'm looking at the spreadsheet now to see um, where you might have fallen through the cracks on that because you totally should have been notified. Yeah, so I'll follow up with you on that.
Thanks, Claire.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, everybody who applied for scholarships and work trade within the time frame that those applications were open should have heard back, regardless of whether we were able to get a spot for you or we had to do a wait list or something or if we didn't have a spot. So yeah, everybody should have heard back. But again, that info at tibc11.earth email, feel free to email that and I check it regularly and we should be able to get back to you.
Trisha, real quick, are you Trisha Stapleton at Reemergence email?
I I am.
Okay, so I did email you on the 14th. I can bump that up in your inbox so that maybe you'll see it again or check your spam or something.
Cool, thanks.
Okay. Cool. So let me share about how to get involved. And as other questions come up, we will address them. But as I was saying, this is super co-creative. There's basically the sky's the limit in terms of how you all can be involved and shape this together. Um, so definitely join the Hilo group because that's kind of the central communications node for all of this as we go towards the Congress. That is a great place to share any ideas at all you have about the Congress, like um, things that would make it more comfortable for you, things that would make it more valuable for you, questions that you have, ideas for programming you think would be cool. Whatever it is, that's the place to start the conversation, and then we can all have that conversation together. And there's specific channels about some of the specific priorities that we're looking at right now. There's a channel about outreach. Outreach is really huge. So not only can you register for yourself and your crew, but you can also help us get the word out with other people that you think should absolutely be part of this conversation. So that's a super, super helpful thing. Um, we really want the people in the room at the Congress to really be representative of Turtle Island. So we want people from all over Turtle Island. We want young people, we want elders, we want people of every color, every origin on this land of Turtle Island, North America. Um, in general, this is focused on North America. I think we might have a few people coming from abroad. But we want this community that gathers to be very representative of all the different identities of Turtle Island. So please help us get the word out and bring in those folks that need to have their voices in this conversation. Because as a movement, we will be strong the more diverse and representative we are. So that's a really huge one. I will say that fundraising is still a goal for us. We want to raise more money so that we can offer more scholarships. We've basically allocated our current scholarship fund, and we have people on the wait list, and there's wonderful delegations forming, and we want to be able to sponsor folks that need to be sponsored. We have delegations from North Carolina, from Hawaii, from Alabama potentially, from Shasta, from Alaska. It's from Southern California. It's so awesome, and we love that idea. So that's another thing to think about. Like, don't just come yourself. Think about who else from your bioregion would be really good to include, and try to get a crew together. That's we think that's going to make this an even richer experience if we have like these crews coming from different bioregions together so that you can be learning together, but have your cohort and you get to take all of the learning and inspiration back together to deploy it locally. Um, Outreach, fundraising. So then there's like specific areas of the Congress that everyone's welcome to weigh in on. So if you have thoughts about programming, you can jump in the conversation on programming. If you have arts ideas, jump into the channel on arts. And these are literal chat channels in the Hilo group. So there's like specific spaces to dive into whatever you're interested in. We're going to be creating spaces around ceremony and the more like ritual and cultural aspects of the gathering. Um, Documentation and media is also a piece of this. There's a rich history of incredible written artifacts from the past Congresses. Each one published a printed proceedings about everything that happened and like the poetry and the art and the resolutions. And it's just such a cool historical document. So we're going to do that 100%. And we're really hoping to be able to create a bunch of educational resources coming out of this to help spread the word with the wider network, so that everyone who can't be there in person can still learn about what we talked about, benefit from the knowledge that's going to be exchanged and be able to take on the action toolkit. So, folks that want to be part of the documentation of it all, that's also very welcome. So, really, there's just so many ways to get involved. So, whatever's interesting to you, please come forward and share. And that's how this Congress will be truly of value to all of us if we're all putting ourselves into it. Yes. Okay. What other questions?
Maybe we could just take a quick look at the tickets.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have a million windows open. Do I have the ability to screen share? Oh, I guess I'm a co-host, so I do.
Okay.
Let me just share my screen real quick. And I'm going to take us straight to the ticketing page. Now I can't see the chat or like see your faces while I'm sharing the screen, so I'll just do this quickly and then I'll come back. So this is the ticketing page. You can get here through the main site. If you scroll down, you can see right now we still have our early bird tickets. They are on sale until basically midnight, April 30th. We also have our abundance and donor tickets. In order to buy these, you would just, add the quantity and move forward. We also have our young child tickets. And then this is where we have the indoor accommodations. So as you can see right now, the rooms in the houses and things like that are sold out. Now, don't worry, Penny, we're going to figure it out. Because I have Virgo, my Mercury is in Virgo, so we're like prepared for this kind of situation. Um, and uh, and Claire's also got a lot of Virgo. Um, and we still have some private tent cabins, and then we also have our bunkhouse shared rooms. Now, just like an overview of the situation. So, the indoor accommodation situation. Camp Cedar Ridge is a summer camp. They host a lot of like youth, child summer camp activities. So they are prepared to like cram 12 kids in bunk beds in a room. Um, and we do not want to do that with adults. We're not going to be cramming 12 adults in bunk beds in a room. That doesn't sound like fun for anybody. So what we've done is we have reduced the number of indoor beds in order to increase, hopefully, like the experience of being in an indoor space. Because what's the point of being in an indoor space if you're with, 10 other people who are snoring? That's not great. So, and who you might not know. So we've created more private rooms and situations where you can book the room and then choose how you want the beds to be arranged. So if you wanted to put 6 people in bunk beds in that room, you can. You just let us know. But if you want to have 4 single beds that are all floor level, or if you wanted to have 2 twin beds that form a king bed, you can do that. If you want to have a king bed and then 1 twin, you can do that. So that's kind of how we've arranged this. The shared bunkhouse is that's the option where you just book your bed and it's you and 3 other people, each with a single bed. But in terms of the tent cabins and the private indoor rooms, you're booking the room and then you choose how the bed layout is. So these are limited. We don't have that many of them. But we're also thinking through, let me just say that we have the car parking pass, RV parking pass. We can also check on these numbers and maybe check in with the size of the vehicles that people are bringing and maybe add more. Um, oh, and if you are booking indoor rooms, you want to add on your linens rental. That is sheets, pillow, comforter, towels, and that fee is coming straight from Camp Cedar Ridge. That's just how they do their linens and laundry. Otherwise, it's BYO bedding. So I should say you have to go through all this, add what you want, and then go to the checkout and do your payment. We're not going to do that right now. But Claire already mentioned, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Camping is going to be the majority of folks at this event are going to be camping. Some might live in Portland or in the nearby and want to just drive in for the day and sleep at home. That's totally fine too. Um, But we're trying to think through solutions for folks who are flying in from a distance and maybe don't um, have space in their luggage to bring camping gear or don't have space to bring camping gear that would be comfortable enough for them to sleep at for more than one night. I know for me, I like to do my own little glamping setup where I have like a foam mattress and I have a really big tent that's tall that I can stand up in and I have my whole like setup. So I'm going to be driving with all that stuff because that's what I like. So we're trying to think through solutions and maybe renting those kinds of tents and setups, or facilitating the rental of those from a local company. We found at least one seemingly great lead on that. It's not going to be like a super fancy glamping experience because those are very, very expensive. But if you're struggling, if this is kind of the breaking point for you, the camping issue, email us at that info@tibc11.earth and we can try to think through a solution. We might not be able to offer an indoor space because we just might not have them. But we can think through trying to help with tent setup, how to help facilitate gear, borrowing or rentals, and all that kind of stuff. Because um, it's, with the budget of this space, trying to keep the tickets at a reasonable, price, this is where we landed. And I think it's going to be a really amazing location. And being more outdoors is actually going to be really wonderful. But there's also just wanting to be able to sleep. It's important.
Mhm. Yeah, and the town of Vernonia has one little motel that we have fully booked. So those are some spaces we might be able to give out. I think we've reserved some of the local Airbnbs. So we're going to try to be helping people find something that works for them. And and yeah, and we know that it's not the most comfortable for everyone to camp. Um, but it also for those that choose to enjoy that with us, it will be very nice to be close to the earth for this.
And I see a question about toilets and facilities. So that's a great
Yes,
question. There are
great question.
two, there are two main bathhouses on the property. One is near the bunkhouses and one is at the pool. There's a pool. And those have shower stalls that people can use for showers. And then they also have toilet facilities as well. And it's like a bank of them. It's like for a large, place. And then in the indoor houses have their own restrooms as well. Not a restroom for each room, but a restroom for each few rooms. We're also looking into renting some portable toilets that can be closer to the camping areas, closer to things so that people don't have to walk far to go to the restroom, especially at night or in the early morning. That's always nice to have those readily accessible and to have plenty of them. We're also looking at how many tickets we're selling and trying to gauge our rentals of those facilities based on our numbers because we don't want to overspend and we also don't want to not have enough. So we're thinking through all that. But they're basically shared facilities. They're going to be scattered throughout the property, and the showers are stall showers with curtains. It's like a campground, like campground showers. And there's a swimming pool.
Yeah, how could I skip that? There is a beautiful swimming pool. Not only that, there's a truly epic water slide, slip and slide scenario. Um, I mean, it's fun. It's like a beautiful summer camp. So, yeah, bring your bathing suit and like feel free to just like go for a dip. And for the people bringing children, it's going to be a really great place to have kids. Um, even aside from the village school programming that we're going to do.
There's a
And I
question
saw
about, go ahead.
I was going to say the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there is signal, there's internet. But I wanted to comment on this because we are also leaning towards doing a very low tech event. Um, and we are most likely not going to live stream anything. Um, So we're really trying to create a container where we're enjoying being in person together, and we don't have to deal with like the hybrid tech, like, oh, there's some people on Zoom, some people in person. That's a really hard dynamic. And we want the people who are choosing to gather with us in person and go to all the trouble to come to really feel completely immersed and not like surveilled, while we're having these conversations. So we're not going to live stream. We may record some of the more like presentational content with everyone's awareness and consent, for potentially sharing later. Um, but the group convergences, for instance, probably not going to be recording that. Um, we're just making our final determinations on these things, but in general, we really want the tech to be put away. Um, we're probably going to use like bulletin boards to have like session information and connection and stuff. And I just want to invite folks to think about this like being in a camp out gathering, and it's, don't worry about your phone. Just like turn it off and put it away. And we're just going to be together in person. And, you know, tech is so dominant in our lives all the rest of the time. But we hope that for the Congress, we will be human together.
And we should clarify there is cell phone signal and Wi-Fi on the property. I wouldn't count on using streaming services because, or anything like that, or like hopping on Zoom meetings in between sessions just for your own personal meeting schedule. Just because when we have a lot of people using a Wi-Fi signal that's, not meant for 300 people to be connecting to it at the same time, or when we're in a more rural area their cell towers, they just get overwhelmed. So cell signal can just kind of go down when you get a certain threshold of people trying to use the internet. But certainly, there's connectivity for in any case of any emergency. And the site itself, they have landlines and all of that, and they're fully equipped to help. With any kind of emergency situation that's happened. I just saw a comment in the chat about that. But there's definitely infrastructure. It's not just like a field with no infrastructure. It's a very it's a great it's a great setup. And the people we've been working with who own the camp are wonderful. Um, oh yeah, Brandon, do you want to talk a little bit about our documentation dreams and fantasies and plans and schemes?
Well, I think we can really leave that open to what people would like to see. But maybe just to name, yeah, traditionally, I think what we are really curious about is certainly doing archival material. I think we really are working to connect this into an intergenerational approach where we're kind of working with the theme of an ember, because for those who aren't familiar, a lot of the bioregional movement really organized in the 1970s and 1980s. A lot of it was pre-internet. And so really helping, and I think we have many of those original organizers, both as helping us organize this conference, certainly that might be on this call. Um, and it's been a delight to get to work with them. And so we really want to help connect people in with this earlier generation of organizing, as well as inspiring a whole new generation. And many of us on the organizing team, we've actually never been to a bioregional conference and all the rest. And so we are very excited with the quality and of our participants is incredibly high, and I think we're very excited from indigenous bioregionalists to regenerators to place-based organizers to people who've been doing this work for decades. And so certainly I think we want to have some type of video documentation. I think we want to do some type of opportunity for podcasting. And then certainly more of a formal, traditionally there have been kind of a voice of a turtle, voice of the turtle, like a newsletter that would get created every day that would share the updates, with people even there and, but maybe also that's going out to the broader world. And I will just say that this is coming at a very powerful time where we think it's very important to have a Turtle Island Bioregional Congress, where we are at the 250th, anniversary of the United States. It's also 2026 is the 50th anniversary from Peterburg's amble to Continental Congress. And I think, it's right before the midterm elections. There's a lot happening in Mexico. There's a lot happening in Canada, especially in the Cascadia bioregion in British Columbia, on Vancouver Island, in the Okanagan, and elsewhere. And so, really being able to come together, connect, and align these movements is going to be a very, I think, powerful thing. And so, this will also be building into September as a broader. I think there's a lot of discussions about helping us come together, build trust, create this shared understanding, create a restorative vision, shared language, and then just really align. And that's going to be also, I think, the week beforehand is going to be our 3.0's bioregional convening. The week after is going to be a bioregional gathering in the Mediterranean, modeled very similarly on the Congress. We have other people that are watching from Asia and Australia, and some that might be coming to take this idea of a Congress back to their continents. And to say that then it's Climate Week and the UN summits and all these other things, where then we really want to empower people to both think about how we're coming into the space and then giving ourselves a chance to relationally connect while we're in the space, and then building those toolkits so that we are all empowered to take something back to our communities, to continue this dialogue moving forward. So just very excited to see everybody on the call. And yeah, and there's a lot of opportunity for documentation. And a lot of that comes from all of you and whatever ideas you want to see or spearhead. So please, if that's something that you're interested in, just let us know and we'd love to talk more.
Thanks, Brandon. There's some great stuff going on in the chat. Trying to keep up. Thanks, Alexander. Thanks for being here. All right. We have about 10 minutes left of our time.
How many people are registered so far?
Yeah, let me look. I knew that number like an hour ago, but my brain has since reset. Let me let me pull it up. Um, right now we've got under 100, but we've still got quite a bit of time. Our early bird sale is going on until, like I said, April 30th, and May 1st it turns over into general admission prices. Yeah, so I think we're on track to have between 200 and 300 people at this event, which would be wonderful. Let's see. Any other burning
Just
questions? Oh,
Well, I was just commenting to Cynthia because she was mentioning that virtual is a helpful accommodation for some. And, we totally want to honor that. And what we've been thinking about is we're having these sessions ahead of time leading up to the Congress, which everyone is welcome to be a part of, even if you're not going to make the Congress in person. We're also going to do debrief virtual sessions after the Congress and share what went down, what we learned, what worked, what didn't, what did we come away with, so that anyone that can't make it in person can still feel totally included. And this is going to be like a really important, powerful moment, but it's just a moment in the whole, geologic time of our journey as a species, right? So, the organizing has been going on forever, and it's going to go on forever. And you're not totally going to miss out if you're even if you can't make it in person. We know not everyone can make it. We know not everyone's going to feel comfortable traveling to the US or within the US. Things might be kind of crazy in September. We don't know. So even if you're not there, you can still be part of this community. You can be on high-low, and you can absolutely be part of the conversation.
yeah, and I want to add that, we're not making the decision around not live streaming lightly. We've had quite a few long conversations about it, because it is a big concern. Cynthia, I see your hand raised. You want to say something?
Yeah, I'm pretty limited right now, but I'm happy to work with you guys because I have I am disabled and I have been for years and I've advocated. So I know there's a lot of creative ways for most, there's so many types of disability and as well as temporary ones like cancer treatment or something. So I
Mhm.
have ideas on some of those simple fixes. I won't take up time. It
Okay.
doesn't always involve live streaming. I've seen people literally flip a laptop around.
Yeah.
And you sit and talk, you're on a laptop. But there are other devices and things that I think would be really helpful for you. And I'm happy if you guys want to reach out at some point to maybe give you a list of them that can help you accommodate people. So,
Would you mind sending an email to that info at tibc11.earth? And then,
I'm pretty limited on my ability to email at this point.
oh,
So,
okay.
but
How do
but
I reach out to you?
you have time, so I will try to do that at some point, or we
Okay.
can reach out and discuss them. So,
I'm just not sure how to get to you, but are you registered for the Congress?
no, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, was
Um,
thinking about it, but as anything, when you're disabled, certain
yeah,
types of accommodations
I
make or
mean,
break your
probably.
ability to attend. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll work. I'll put my I'm trying to
Can
think.
you put your email in the chat?
Sure.
Okay.
Or
So
Then I can reach
does
out.
for
does
you, yeah.
phone work
Oh yeah,
better?
phone
Or
maybe
what's
is
the
better.
best way to connect with you?
Zoom actually, ironically, is the easiest. So let me figure it out. I don't want to take a bunch of
Okay.
time. You have a lot of questions, but there's
Sure.
so many, like where there's
Yeah.
zero gravity chairs, things for children. There's just a lot of little things if you have available. It can really help people, and particularly also elders as they tire.
Yep.
Not everyone considers themselves disabled until you're like have had too long of a day. So, I think there's some things that could be handy that would be helpful. And there are now wheelchairs and things that can go, they're kind of made to be outdoor. You
Yeah, we're trying to think through as much of this as possible.
Yeah,
So I would
I
love to
do
have a
this. I've
conversation.
done this with my city even. So,
Cool.
like I said, there's good solutions and there's just the creative path of least resistant ones too. So, thank you so
Exactly.
much I'm glad you're looking into this. So, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Cynthia. I hope we can connect. That's great. All right.
Maybe
Any
time
other?
for one more.
Oh,
Denise, I saw your hand earlier. No? Okay.
I was indicating that I was in approval of something, not that I wanted to speak.
Mhm.
okay. Well, I'm going to put those email addresses in the chat one more time. This is the info email. You can also just directly email me or CC me directly. I um, am fine with that. And that's just lilyfalconer@gmail.com.
Mhm. And there's the Hilo link again. Um, yeah, show up anytime, any ideas you have. Um, and I think as we move deeper with program planning, my plan is to be asking everyone in the group for feedback. Like, here's 10 topics we're considering. We don't have space for all of them. Which ones are you most passionate about? That kind of thing. Because we really want to make sure that we're prioritizing things that are also representing the priorities of the participants. Claire.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I've been on high-low and posed a question about one of my interests. A couple people said, oh yeah, blah, 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 I'm interested too, but I'm wondering if there's a way to make a caucus or something who want to think more together about a particular content. How does that work?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, is it like a program type topic?
Yeah, it's about local economic development, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah,
Um, and how does
yeah, I
that
think
happen, in a regeneration context?
yeah, I think I remember your comment.
Yeah.
Um, I would say go to the program chat channel And oh no, you did. That's where you put it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I would say like ask in the group if people are interested in working on that with you. Um, and you can start with me and Deborah, the two people that commented on your comment. Um, yeah, I mean, just putting this in there is really good. And then whatever you have in mind going forward, just put that in the chat. So it's just an
I'm
ongoing conversation.
72. These asynchronous, disconnected, disembodied conversations that don't make me crazy. So what I want is to say, okay, here's a cluster of people who are interested in this. They can have a Zoom meeting at this time or something like that. You know what I mean,
Mhm.
Brandon?
Yeah, I think that's exactly the right approach. Um, and so you could suggest that,
Okay, thank you.
and you could
Yeah,
pick a time and
and
people
I'll
can
just
join.
say I think that's a wonderful idea and probably something that we'll work towards because I think it's so early right now. But as we start to firm up with who's actually in attendance, what are the offerings that people want to see and bring, I think it's really important. And then luckily for you, Claire, I think our whole point is also to gather in person. But I think you're also naming something really important too, which is the preparation of gather, maybe like groups pre-meeting, pre-talking, pre-getting to know each other a little bit. And then we do want to have a lot of space during the Congress itself. Those would be exactly the types of sessions that we hope people will lead or break off or have space for, whether it's a caucus or a work circle or whatever it ends up being.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Um, I just want to respond real quick to a thing in the chat about getting to the site. Some like logistical, like transportation questions. Um, and yeah, so we want to help people get there. There's plenty of parking on the site for people that are driving or renting a car, but we also just want to make it really easy for people to get off a plane and come over. So if you're flying in, um, I want to be collecting everyone's like flight information, and I don't really have a way of taking that in right now, but I'll figure it out. And then for folks that are interested in being on a shuttle, and then when we have enough folks, I'm gonna book a shuttle, and then everyone that wants to be on it can buy a ticket. And I don't think it'll be that expensive, but we can just do round trip shuttles and we've started looking into that already, but we haven't booked them yet. But that's one way we want to help with that. And then we're also probably going to do like a rideshare spreadsheet so people can also just try to find someone local who's coming to hitch a ride with. Um, so, Britt, and I don't think we can say like we're guaranteeing that we are providing rides for everyone, but we are going to do a lot to facilitate that folks will have rides. If that makes sense.
Yeah, as we get closer to the to the Congress, we will be doing some dedicated outreach to people who have tickets. Um, the rideshare spreadsheet, yes, the chat channel as well. These will be spaces that we will provide, but that we won't be able to, like our organizing team is 4 people strong. So we can't make sure everybody gets a ride. Like we can't be in charge of arranging 300 people's rides or whatever, but we can facilitate the space for y'all to figure it out. And everybody's got different situations and flights might be late and things happen, but we're working on maybe getting a couple of shuttle runs on the first and last days that people can sign up for and trying to get the cost of that low as possible so that we can, you know, make that as accessible as possible. But so we'll have more dedicated communication about that as we get a bit closer. So I would look for that in like July and August. And if it's something that's causing real worry, I would say post about it in Hilo and see if somebody else has some ideas too, because this community is very resilient and very creative.
Yes. Thank you, Lily. And I know that we've gone beyond our time, so let's bring it to a close. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll share out this recording for anyone that couldn't make it, or if you want to share it or refer back. But we're so excited to be in community with all of you and really looking forward to gathering together in September. Okay, blessings, everyone. Have a great day.